My first question is, what does PBP mean to you? It's a big question, isn't
I
it?
think PvP, there's two kinds of things. Some people, it's a bucket list, you cross it off, you've done it, you move
Yeah.
on. And other people get captivated by it and it takes over not quite their life, but you. A friend of mine once said that basically during PvP, you're processing the last 4 years of your life. And then the next 4 years, you're preparing the next PvP.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. There's something about those 4 years intervals that make it even more
Yeah,
special. Yeah,
exactly. Because it's not every year. I mean, you really have time to think about it, to prepare for it,
yeah,
even build a new bike or whatever. There's a lot of thinking about it, and it's more challenging than you realize at first. Everybody thinks, oh, 90 hours, 1,200 kilometers. I mean, it's not super easy, but it's doable. But then you realize there's so many facets for it,
yeah,
and you can either optimize one or two and you will finish within the time limit with not much problems, or you can try to optimize all and suddenly your time drops because you gain a few hours here, a few hours there, a few hours there, a few hours there. So people think that the fast guys are superhuman, but they're not often superhuman. I'm not.
yeah,
They just work on every aspect.
yeah, yeah. And there is so much potential for improvement across this kind of event, isn't that right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, time trial I talked about before, all you need is aero bars, you set them up right, and then it's horsepower.
Yeah,
That's it. PvP
yeah.
horsepower doesn't get you anywhere.
So true. And in many ways, it's what happens off the bike
Oh,
determines
totally.
yeah,
We
yeah.
calculated that once. If you stop 5 minutes extra at each control, you have to ride half a mile per hour faster between controls to catch up. Now,
That's
half a mile per hour
crazy.
faster,
That
that's
is
big. I
fast.
mean, somebody who passes you at half a mile per hour faster, they're going like
Yeah,
this. You're not
yeah,
going to get on their wheel because you say, oh, that guy's too fast.
yeah.
And 5 minutes
Cool.
at the control, I mean, that's nothing.
Amazing. What does PBP mean to you? So it's a very open-ended question.
Well, PBP initially, I had been doing long distance riding for a long time. My first century, first 100-mile ride was about 1981 or so. And then in 83, I did my first Davis double. So I've been doing long distance riding for a long time. And when you're in that, arena, there's always talk about PBP. And I didn't really know that much about it, but started learning more about it. So I certainly knew what the ride was. So it was really the next step. It was that next challenge,
Yeah,
the next mountain to climb, whatever. And what finally kind of put us over the edge was some friends and I had been doing a lot of long distance riding on fixed gear bikes starting around 2005.
wow.
In 2006, we rode cross country. So I rode from California to Kansas on a fixed gear. So, several mountain ranges in between there.
God.
Um, and we thought, well, gosh, PVP is coming up next year. We're all pretty much
Yeah.
in shape now. Let's do something completely stupid
Okay.
and go take fixed gear bikes over there.
Nice. That
Um,
was stupid. You're right. Yeah.
it was stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a writer from Davis named Amy Rafferty who I don't know if she does this anymore, but she was uh, did PBP several times. I think she was a local RBA, etc.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. We were sitting in the hotel in Sankatan before the ride, and she said, it's stupid riding it on a fixed gear. You know that, don't you?" And I was like, "Oh, no, no, it'll be fine." And she was right, of course. It was
Yeah.
totally stupid, but we did it.
Yeah. This whole thing is just degrees of stupidness, isn't that right? Like it's all stupid. What long
Oh
distance
yeah, yeah.
riding, the whole
My
thing.
wife has totally the right opinion about all of this,
Yes.
which is you're stupid. Why are you doing this? You know?
Yeah, it's funny. My wife's similar, and it seems to keep us the marriage alive. I don't know. She just sees me as this idiot, basically. So it's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Question number one: what does PBP mean to you?
Well, that's actually an unusual question to me. I had to think about that a little bit. I'd say, I mean, it's obviously a huge historic cycling event that was originally a race a long time ago. If you know a little bit about the history, That wasn't how I came about it. I learned more about it because of randonneuring and what it does. But I guess I failed to realize just how important PBP was to some people in certain places. Obviously, it's important in France. That becomes abundantly clear when you're there,
Yep.
when you're there
Yep.
to do the event itself. But it's kind of the granddaddy. It's like I don't know. I hate to use the term Mecca because I'm not a Muslim and I don't really understand it well,
Yeah.
Islam well. But it's kind of like the big gathering of people who have an interest in long distance randonneuring throughout the world. And so it's kind of a gathering and a celebration, and certainly an acknowledgement of people who've done these things before us and probably had a lot more challenges than really modern randonneurs I'd say, in France.
Thank you. Okay, first question. What does PBP mean to you?
So PBP to me was kind of a challenge, a goal, a thing to work towards. And, it kind of directed what I did for 4, 5, 6 years while I learned to ride a bike, essentially. Yeah.
That's cool. And I know you have quite a story, and I think it's really interesting the fact that you DNF first and then came back and finished it, which we'll hear more about later. What did it feel like when you actually finished PBP that second time in 2015? What did the finish line feel like?
I expected this glorious feeling of accomplishment. In reality, I was relieved to be done. It was not some great, and it was in the rain, and there weren't a lot of people there, and it was a bit of a mess. So
Yeah.
I expected to have a feeling. I didn't have that feeling. I was
Okay.
happy to be done.
Yeah.
It was a hard ride.
Kevin, maybe you're dead inside. Who knows? Okay.
This is
Did the satisfaction come later, or it really was, I've done this, now I can move on with my life?
A little of both. I find that I ride for the challenge and not for the enjoyment of the ride.
Okay.
People ask me after my big rides, did you have fun? And I'm like, well, it really wasn't about the fun. For
Yeah.
me, it was about the challenge. And my daughter learned to ask when she was really young, were you challenged? And that's the answer. So I had a sense of accomplishment afterwards as far as the challenge goes.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, long distance riding, enjoying it while it's happening or enjoying it when it's past.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating thing, and it changes, I think, as you get older in life, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I'm really into type 2 fun, the kind,
Yes.
if you understand the phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, which one is, that's the good one, is that right?
No,
That's the bad one. Okay.
That's the bad one. That's
Okay.
bad at the time, good later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of weird because obviously type 1, I assume, is the one you're enjoying in the moment. That's what we should all strive for, Kevin, I think, in life, maybe. Cool. Actually, your name, Kevin, it's very Irish, so I assume maybe Irish Catholic, which would explain maybe enjoying type 2 suffering. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, there you go.
Nailed it.
All right. Thanks for joining, Pascal.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
I'm
great.
I'm so excited to have a real life French person on the
Yeah.
podcast. Okay. Okay. So
I've been in
you're
the US for so long, I'm not sure I'm French
no,
anymore.
no.
But yeah.
You're representing an entire nation. Okay. So don't mess it up. Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah.
So,
That's great. That's cool. Great.
mhm.
Okay. Back to my normal questions then. The first one I
Yeah,
always ask.
yeah.
What does PBP mean to you? And again, there's a great weight to this because you're a French person.
I think, it's really just a personal achievement. You do get a medal at the end, but, compete against yourself. And I think sometimes you wonder why you do that, but when you are done, it's like, wow, it was, incredible. And I remember in 2015, I was talking to a French guy in the middle of the night. And of course, he was saying, well, I keep saying to myself, never again. But he was saying, as soon as I crossed the line, I was planning the next one.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's, for most of us, it's, a little bit what we
Yeah.
do. We wonder why we do it, but when we are done, it's
Yeah.
incredible. And I think the evolution of PBP is pretty neat to, even between 2015 and 2023, I can see the change. You have like more international.
Yeah.
And by international, it's not just European or North American. You have more and more people from Asia.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of nice. You have these people from literally all over the world, maybe not Africa yet, but maybe hopefully in the future. And they come to this event and they share their passion of cycling. And I think, I don't know if you see that for other things, but I think it's really neat.
Yeah. So true. So true. What does PBP mean to you?
PBP is this kind of mythical, larger than life, holy grail of long distance cycling. And I've always kind of regarded it with reverence.
Yes.
So yeah, just the apex of the sport.
Cool. How did it feel at the finish line? So that third attempt,
Yeah.
right? How did it feel? 2023.
Just one word, relieved. I was relieved to get the monkey off my back after 8 years.
Oh, that's great. That's cool.